Good afternoon, traders. Joseph here from Eightcap. Welcome to this week's Trade Zone weekly wrap. So obviously we'll start with the biggest one today so far, which has been a pretty key issue during this week, and has been the debt ceiling agreement. So it's very good news on that front today. The bill has passes the bill through the Senate, and it's prevented the US going into a default, which I don't really think anyone expected. I think we all really thought they would come down to the wire, has done so in the past, and that has led to some decent volatility leading up to today. So we can see the dollar has had a pretty decent week. We saw new weekly highs previous session, and yesterday we saw a very fast move down after the bill continued to progress through, and things started to become a little bit more positive on that front. So it was a pretty good day for risk markets yesterday. We've seen a very nice turnaround. So after a couple of days of decline, we saw a very strong finish on US 30. We are wondering if we're going to see another push higher. We can see support down here, and we are looking for hopefully a bit of follow through from buyers tonight. The NFP is coming out, but if it does lean towards the side, coming a little bit lower, that could aid stock buyers and dollar sellers, and we could hopefully see a little bit more upside from the US 30. And onto currencies. So the Aussie dollar had a supplies inflation rise. Now, it didn't do too much to the market that day. We saw a bit of a test lower this week, and it's held. So this level down here is support at the moment, 6494, and we have seen a very strong rally yesterday, and we have seen a very strong rally today so far, as well as traders really moved back into risk assets after the bill has passed through the Senate. So we'll look to see if this rally can continue today, if risk will stay on the radar, and if traders will remain hot to continue to pick up these assets as the day moves on. And then hopefully we, as we've stated, we'll see a bit more risk buying throughout this session. The NFP is the only real one we've got to keep an eye on to see if they could dent that momentum, and we'll break that down and have a look at that a bit later. Now the euro as well, it hasn't seen the same level of buying that we have seen on the Aussie so far, but we definitely did see a very strong session yesterday. The support came in at 1.0881, but the pound's definitely been, in terms of gains, it's been very, very solid this week. We've just seen day after day of gains, and we are seeing a bit of a test of this resistance here at 25.33 at the moment. We are wondering as well if we can close above that and maybe set up a push to retest this resistance at 26.28. And a similar story over on the yen. The Aussie is very firm to the yen at the moment, 0.71% higher, and we can see that really nice second day rally here. This is the level that's going to test buyers. It has been in the way for a fair bit of time now. That's at 92.15 to 20 area, and that's definitely going to be the real test for buyers if we do get up to that level. So at the moment, things are looking really good. As we've seen with the dollar, the yen is down as well, and risk markets, well and truly back on the radar at the moment. But yeah, if we do continue to see buying, that's the level we're really interested to see if buyers can break. And the euro as well to the yen, it had a pretty weaker week so far, but we have seen these 2 days of buying. It doesn't look very firm at the moment. We maybe see a bit of a continued push up, but there's still a lot of selling momentum during this week, and things definitely don't look as confident as maybe the Aussie and the pound, for instance. So if we look at the pound here, we're very close to getting back up to this high that was set several days ago, and if we do break that, that sets up new yearly highs as well. So the eyes will be on the pound and the Aussie just to see if this trend momentum can continue. The pound's definitely the firmest out of the three in terms of trend structure right now. And looking at some of the indices at the moment, so the ASX is still 0.28% lower now. This is the CFD over the ASX 200. We had a very strong session yesterday with the recovery, but it was a very bad week for the ASX 200 with inflation coming out higher than expected, and that opens up more worries about potential interest rate rises coming in locally here in Australia. Obviously, that's also aiding the AUD on as well, with the debt ceiling agreement. Now, the yen has been, the JPN 225 has been a pretty interesting market lately, with this initial beautiful rally at the pullback, new highs coming up straight away. We had a very sharp pullback this week as the yen found some form, but this all changed yesterday, and we had an amazing rally yesterday, and now we're looking to see if it can follow up, if we can see another move back up to test these highs, and maybe even see a new high. And if we do see stock buying and the US markets continue to pick up, then we could see this come into play, and we could maybe see another high put in for this year on the JPN 225. Now, the Nasdaq we'll have to touch on, as it's probably been the best out of the three at the moment, so just update that here. So as we can see, it is a fair way off the moving average now, but in terms of mean revision, that is a small worry, but it doesn't mean it's going to pull back just because it's at a distance, but it is starting to pull away quite sharply. But we do wonder if we're going to see another leg higher, and if we're going to get back to test this high seen here at that 14,539 area. If we do see NFP figures come out to sort of favour stocks and favour risk, we'll be looking to see a new move back up to test that, hopefully tonight, maybe even break it tonight as well. But we really do need continued momentum to keep driving this market forward. Now, oil has had a very interesting week so far. We saw 2 days where it was absolutely knocked lower, and those resulted in a 7% drop. So far, yesterday we saw a strong recovery, and for now, this level here continues to be pretty key support for oil at 67.25, and we've seen another bounce off that. So we are wondering if we can see a bit more of a rally, maybe a push back up to test the 72 area, 72.5. What we really need to see is a move back up to test 74.20 and a break above that level to sort of break this deadlock. So we do have maybe a higher low / a double bottom here. There's a trend break. We have had a trend break of this longer term trend here. There's a lot of good support there. We just really need now this bias to find some momentum and get going. With the default worries off the table, and maybe if we do see some more evidence of growth and things recovery, we may just start to see demand for oil pick up at the moment. But for now, it continues to just hold support, and it is trading inside these two bars down. So we really do need one more bar just to get back up to show a bit more buyer demand. Even if we do see a pullback in the next few sessions, as long as it's a higher low and it doesn't close below this level, that's still pretty positive, and we'll look to see if it can continue to build and get back up to these levels here. Now, gold has had an interesting week so far. It's been primarily stronger. It's continued to be stronger today, but we are seeing a little bit of issues with buyers and this level at 1980.42. We're seeing once again some resistance coming in. It may need a bit of a boost to get above this resistance level. Even if we do see a lower high, it's looking okay. There's a bit of a trend break here, so even a minor pullback followed up by a higher low and a new push, we'd like to see this area broken, and then we'll look for the possibility of this trend continuing and this overall trend continuing. So another precious metal that has had a pretty interesting week has been platinum. So we saw a really nice signal here with a big fade, a real collapse in momentum, and then we saw that real strong move down earlier in the week. At the moment, it's put 2 legs higher, but we don't really like it at the moment. It still looks to be sitting in a pretty decent looking short-term downtrend, so we'd really want to see a new higher low with a new higher high and a break at this area to really tell us that the buyers are back in control, and we may see this as a higher low and with a new extension higher. So that definitely needs a bit of time before we can make that call. Now, cryptos are higher at the moment today. We've seen some some gains and falls really this week. BNB is definitely one on the radar at the moment today. There's a nice support hold here with buying off that level, so keep an eye on BNB if we do get a continued rally, and would like to see a break of the range. Ethereum is also one to keep an eye on today. We can see here we've got a trend break, a leg out of a support hold. This is the initial leg here. We've had a pullback, we have a higher low, and we're seeing a new rally. So this could be a continuation higher. It's definitely a good one to watch, and if we do break this level here with a new push higher, that could set up a new leg upwards on this developing trend here. So on the buy side, one to watch for sure, but any move below this level here would be a worry. Now some of the other markets, Ripple continues to push around. It's having a good day today after a fantastic last week was fantastic. It's had, and earlier this week it had an amazing push higher. We want to see a break of this level here at 52 and a push back up to here at 54, and then would really be looking for this trend here to really try and get going. At the moment it has been held back quite a few times by this level up at 54. So the real first step is a break here, and then to get back up to this level and try and see a new move higher. And then we could really be starting to say that this point here is well and truly becoming a new trend. It is looking okay at the moment, but it has this level here just to get around. So that's some of the markets and some of the things that have been going on at the moment. We'll just have a look at the NFP data that's coming out tonight, and we can see average earnings are expected at 0.3%, and the NFP data is they're expecting 193k and 3.5 for unemployment. So if we do see any figures just below that, it may be a good thing for risk markets, but if we do see a lot stronger data, that might be a bit of an issue with the inflation situation. But some of the comments coming out lately have been that apart from Black Swan event, they do expect inflation to come down to 2% in the next couple of years, and this is again from Fed Harker, rates near holding point, but disinflation slow, sees significant room. So for potential around adjustment, and prospect for more disinflation good but not guaranteed. So still mixed messages. So I think that we'll still be looking at data that's coming out at the moment. Coming up next week, we'll run over some of the key things to have a look at. We have Swiss CPI coming out on Monday. Now, the OPEC meetings are running over the weekend as well, so depending on what comes out on those meetings, that could be a bit of a catalyst for oil. We do remember quite recently there was that surprise production cut, and that really did send oil flying. So that's definitely one, it's not listed as high impact, but definitely one to keep an eye on as that comes out over the weekend, as what it could do for Monday's open. Also, we have the cash rate for Australia. They're expecting a hold at 3.85%, and Australian GDP is coming out on Wednesday, and we have Canadian interest rate decision on Thursday, looking for 4.50%. Unemployment claims on Thursday for the US, and then to top off the week we have employment data out of Canada, so the change and the unemployment rate. So that's really it for today's weekly wrap. Definitely keep an eye on risk markets going forward tonight as we see the NFP data drop, and how that's all possibly could intertwine with the bill going through today, and if we will see a continued push higher by risk assets, or if the data does come out and it's not in a good sense really in terms of the inflation situation. How much will that impact on some of the momentum we've been seeing since yesterday on risk assets. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for your tuning in. We wish you all the best for your weekend. Good trading for the rest of the day, and check out the US employment data when it drops at 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, or 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time from New York. So thanks, and bye for now.